Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
I'm here to save the day. I'm here to save the day.
Soon I will be invincible. Because comics. Welcome to Because Comics. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and again, I'm joined by my co-host, the kaleidoscopic Mike Christensen.
I was not expecting kaleidoscopic in our second episode.
Well, you are, sir.
Thank you.
You wear it very nicely.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm glad to be here, as always.
So, as we discussed in our previous first episode of Because Comics, this podcast is about talking about the zaniness and crazy stories that we find in comics, and we're going to get into some more crazy ones today.
Right away.
Oh, yeah.
Our first segment is the pull list. For those, again, who are unfamiliar, the pull list is something comic book stores do. They hold on to your books. If you say that you want Spider-Man, Batman, and Wonder Woman, hold on to those for me. I'll come pick them up when I get a chance. They hold on to them. You come by, you buy them. Everyone's happy.
Transactions happens.
Exactly.
Gifts and
exchange
goods and
of
services.
money for goods. Exactly.
That's how the economy's built on comics.
And every week we'll be reviewing something from our pull list. So Jay, what do you got for us?
All right, I'll kick things off. So on my pull list this week is actually, I don't know if you've heard of her. She is called Wonder Woman.
What's the book called?
It's called Wonder Woman.
Why do they call it that?
She is a wondrous female person.
I don't know. It feels like it's
also
not going to catch on.
We'll see.
All right.
So this little man, I only talk about indie comics. Last time I talked about
Our
Batman.
Obligatory. No one knows who DC is. Joke.
Apparently nobody knows what DC.
Weird.
So Wonder Woman, written by Brian Azzarello, and I apologize if I mispronounced that name, drawn by Cliff Chang. Mm-hmm. Chang? There's an I in there. But anyways...
I think it's Chang or Chiang.
Chang? Something like that. But anyways, drawn beautifully well by Cliff and written very well by Brian. Mm-hmm. And this is a new take on Wonder Woman. So just like the classic, forget what you used to know about so-and-so. So Wonder Woman's original origin story was that she was created out of clay, lightning struck her,
right.
and she is like, she's Wonder Woman, she was made from clay.
Wasn't she like something with the gods? Like the lightning was gods?
It was like Zeus's lightning or something.
Wow.
Something like that.
Something like that.
So yeah, Wonder Woman is part of this Amazon tribe, and she's the only one created out of clay. She's special. So that's the original origin story. So this new revamp almost subverts that, basically. What is being told to all the Amazons is that she is this special person. She was created by clay, lightning struck her. The real story is that she actually is the daughter, the love child out of wedlock. Ooh. Scandalous. Of the Queen Hippolyta, I think that's how you say her name. Queen Hippolyta. She's the queen of all the Amazons. Yeah. And Zeus. Oh, what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's a demigod basically in this, which also, lends itself a little bit to why she kicks all of the ass. Yeah. And basically, so this is kind of the secret nobody knows about, and it's revealed very early on, I believe in the first issue, that she is in fact the daughter of Zeus, and this goes over very badly with the Amazon community because they have this big thing, I don't know if you know this, about guys not really down with dudes.
Well, where did the Amazons come from then? Maybe this is something they dealt with a long time ago.
They address it, and it's a little dark.
Okay.
Amazons apparently, like once in a generation, go out to boats, like on sea, filled with dudes. Boats are always filled with dudes, right?
Sure.
So they go out to like a naval ship or something.
Yeah.
And they like show up and like with their feminine wiles woo them, and it's like all in very like shadowy-esque, and they like mate with all these men on like a huge thing on this boat, and then afterwards all the guys are like, just imagine them all sitting around with cigarettes. I imagine maybe this happened in the 60s, but right afterwards they then proceed to kill all of the men afterwards. So they basically go to these boats and use them for procreation, and then come back to the island,
praying mantis style,
have their daughters. I think there's almost like a little bit of like a 300-esque, like they throw dudes away or kill men if they have boys. I don't know.
Oh.
It's glanced over very quickly.
Interesting.
But so the Amazon community, only women. It's not like magic why they have more people there. They're not immortal.
Got it. Okay.
But she was thought to be this special thing. It's revealed that she's actually the son of Zeus, and that Queen Hippolyta,
daughter of Zeus.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said son of Zeus.
Whoops.
Is that the other twist?
That's the other
You don't wanna
twist.
tell me
She's
that?
actually a man, Wonder Woman. But
interesting.
So she is a man. No. So Wonder Woman is the daughter of Zeus, and this is the big reveal. So that's just the origin. But the real thing where this comic really gets fun and interesting, and the enjoyment about it, is that it's basically Wonder Woman isn't just, she doesn't have an invisible jet. She can fly. She has all these powers. She's a demigod. She has the wristband. She has the lasso. She has all the classic Wonder Woman stuff. It's still there. But basically, they're like, what if we took the idea of Wonder Woman and kind of mashed up some horror-esque, supernatural horror-esque with mythology? So imagine kind of like a supernatural mythology story smashed with, wait for it, The Sopranos, or like a mob Goodfellas movie. I'll explain why that last piece is there. Because
is it because of the gods?
Because the gods.
Okay.
So basically, the gods.
I'm trying to figure who would the Goodfellas be?
Yeah.
Who's the god? Who's the mafia?
In this story, Zeus, who would be like the godfather, the kingpin, is absent. He's gone. He's the daddy who's flown the coop. He's not around, even for the gods. So his children, like Apollo and War and all of them, he's gone. So with this vacuum, there's a power struggle for the throne in Olympus. So Apollo is like kind of like the golden boy, wink wink, to take the throne, but he's a bit evil about him too. War doesn't want anything to do with it. He's kind of a drunk. He also trained Wonder Woman. There's a lot of stuff with that. But who
was that?
War.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, Ares.
Okay.
They call him War.
Got it. I figured. Yeah. I was just
and Poseidon is vying for it. Hades is vying for it. But where like the horror kind of creeps in here is like Hades, for example, isn't like our Hades from like the Disney film, cackling and being like all old and mischievous.
That would be very strange.
That would be very
Disney
strange.
owns Marvel.
Yeah.
For Disney's Hades to show up in a
there we
DC
go.
book.
A
That would be
little
weird.
conflicting. But it's actually like a little kid with candle wax melted over his face, the top of his face, and candles on his head. Like, weird stuff.
What?
There's a comic, they go to hell, and, like, hell is made of, like, dead people. Like, the roads are made of people. Like, faces, buildings are all made of people. Everything's people. It's terrifying.
Is the Soylent Green people?
The streets are people. but
that's really dark.
Yeah, it's dark. I mean
hell.
Yeah, and the whole main story is that like there's this child that's going to overthrow Olympus. They don't know who it is. Is it Wonder Woman? Is it this new child? So basically, this whole story is her meeting her other demigod brothers and sisters, teaming up to protect their youngest, newest demigod brother and sister. It's a baby. That might be the prophesized destroyer of Olympus, right? Your standard story. Magic baby, have to protect Magic baby. It's not really clear, could save Olympus, could destroy Olympus, whatever.
Ambiguous prophecy.
And then while this is going on, you've got your Sopranos Goodfellas-esque of all these different gods vying for power to be the king, to be the top dog, basically, and throw in all the crazy dark world building and like everything's very supernatural. Hermes looks like kind of a creepy bird like man. It's very interesting, but really, really cool and really, really well done. All the action has impact. Wonder Woman is a really strong, badass character, and she shines in a big way in this book, and it really is kind of an awesome revamp of her character, and also just a new direction, and gives Wonder Woman kind of lends itself to its whole new mythology, really lives in it, really delves deep into it, and that's what makes this book really cool, and that's why it's on my pull list.
Good.
So I recommend Wonder Woman. Mike, what is on your pull list for this week?
On my pull list this week is Lumberjanes. It's from Boom Studios. It's from their new Boombox imprint. It's from writers Grace Ellis and Noelle Stevenson, and artist is Brooke Allen. And it's about 5 teenage girls who are part of a Girl Scout-esque group called the Lumberjanes, and they're at a camp. And the issue 1 opens with the 5 girls in the middle of the night in the forest fighting 3-eyed foxes.
What?
Yes, there's no explanation. I mean, there is later, only in the sense that they were looking for something else that was also weird and not explained, and instead they were besieged by 3-eyed foxes, and they take it in stride.
It's
they're
just
like,
oh,
maneuver 17, and then they
like
fight, and they're
totally
like, that's
normal
not maneuver 17. I guess we're doing this now.
Wait, they have maneuvers?
They are not coordinated in their maneuvers. Someone shouted maneuver, whatever, like Red Riding
But
maneuver.
it's clear that this is something they've done before.
No, because they're very much like flying by the seat of their pants.
Okay.
They're like Red Riding maneuver, and then they all do different things. And they're like, we did not agree on this.
I like that one of them is called Red Riding Maneuver, by the way.
Well, because one of them is literally in the forest in a Red Riding Hood cloak. Like, literally you think you are watching, or reading, I suppose, a Red Riding...
Reading and watching.
...pastiche or inversion. In a way you are, because they're not wolves, they're foxes. It's kind of different. But it's just bizarre. And then there's a lot of Gravity Falls in it.
Okay.
And you and I are huge fans of Gravity Falls.
Huge fans of Gravity Falls.
There's a lot of like, oh, well, here's something weird and mysterious that we'll definitely come back to. And here's the woman who runs the camp is up all night whittling, but she's not whittling with like a tiny little knife. She's just literally using an axe.
And she whittles with an axe?
We just come in and she's whittled like half a sculpture and she's holding an axe like over her head.
Of course,
as if that somehow is involved in what she's doing. And you clearly get there's a mysterious supernatural thing she's aware of but doesn't say anything about. It's just fun. Wow. If there's one word that defines Lumberjanes from the first issue, even right out of the gate, it's fun. You get the sense of the characters, but really it takes a back seat to just like the scenario. They're just going to tell you this is what's happening. They don't know what's happening. You are now in the same boat as them.
So are they at like a camp or like?
They're at a campground out in the log cabins and everything, and they have the scoutmasters and that kind of stuff.
Do they all happen? Are they friends before they get there? Is that ever addressed, or we don't know yet?
And at least not from the first issue. None of that's defined yet. It's just them in the situation. You get the sense they know each other now. They're all bunkmates in the same cabin, but you're just getting a sense of their characters as the story goes on, and eventually, it's fleshed out. How do these kids know each other? Are they only from the camp? Or, I mean, Girl Scouts obviously aren't just at a camp. But then this isn't exactly Girl Scouts. It's the Lumberjanes. It's a different organization. So who knows?
The camp called Lumberjanes?
No, I don't remember what the name of the camp is. It's not Lumberjanes, but it's their uniform is very Girl Scouts-esque, and they have a mantra, which we don't know the full thing, because at one point someone's reciting the mantra, and they say, and then there's a line about God or something, to always an endeavor. It's like...
So they, like, forget their own mantra halfway through?
Or skip over it or something.
Nice.
It's just a fun book. It's weird and wacky, and there's definitely, they're going somewhere with all the mysterious things they've implied, like something they find with the foxes, and there's something in the Scoutmaster's office. There's definitely, like, stuff is building.
That's awesome.
But it's a very immediate, like, just you're in the action, weirdness is going on, you're on board or you're not. Come along with us.
I love it.
It's so much fun. And the character types, I mean, they're very defined. You know who they are pretty quickly, but their builds even, the way they're designed and drawn are so radically different from each other. You're never going to mix them up. That's one of the biggest sins in any female ensemble, especially in comics. Just based on the virtue of, this is something that Disney animators talk about a few times. It's really easy when you're drawing a beautiful woman or something to accidentally draw her off model because they're so particular, and that's a certain house style with Disney. But they're radically different sizes and shapes and
that's awesome.
Colors. There's just a very dynamic.
There's a thing I like to think about that also makes up not only good characters, but also I always like to reference good superheroes. That characters, if you can tell who that is by their silhouette, they've done a good job with designing that character.
Indiana Jones is one of the prime examples of that.
Exactly.
You know who that guy is.
You're not going to mix up Batman. That's probably Batman. Like
Decent chance.
Or the devil in a cloak. Who knows?
Is it Dracula?
Dracula.
Yeah.
With really...
Wolverine hair.
Yeah. He hasn't been to the barber in a while.
It's true. But anyway, that's Lumberjanes, Boom Studios. Check it out. It is just a delight. Awesome. And it's also available on Comixology.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think that concludes our pull list. So, Mike, let's kick it off with our main event.
SpiderMan. The Spider or the Man? Today, we're going to be talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 100 to 102. These were written by Stan Lee and drawn by Gil Kane. They started around 1971 is when these came out. A little bit of context so we know where we are in the story. Peter is dating Gwen Stacy, and they have been for a while, but Gwen's dad, George Stacy, just died.
Oh.
And his last words, because he dies at the hands of Dr. Octopus, and his last words to Spider-Man are, "Take good care of her, Peter." And Peter realizes, he has to have known for a while. Clearly he's aware, and this isn't like he's figured it out here on his death street.
It's Death Street.
It's Death Street.
But
anyway, not that. But that's sort of what's happened. That happened about 10 issues earlier.
Okay.
Things are getting a little tough for him. And Spider-Man is actually a little... It's weird. This is the 100th issue, and it opens with him complaining that he's a little bit bored being Spider-Man. Like, he's like, oh yeah, I took down a couple street punks. Ho-hum. It's just like, oh, really weird. You would never see that now.
Sometimes I swing from buildings, and I have the strength of a spider. I can throw cars.
It's not that he's bored of being Spider-Man. It's just so easy. It's like he doesn't feel the challenge. This is a weird issue open that way. But he also talks about...
if he'll be challenged.
But the main problem is that he feels like he's living his life from the sidelines. He can't really commit to Gwen because how is he going to keep that secret if they get married?
Right.
How is he going to tell her when she still thinks Spider-Man's responsible for her father's death? He really has to think about, do I keep being Spider-Man? And he gets home and he has this formula that we're told he's been working on for a while, which would remove the spider powers. And he's been sitting on it because he has radioactive blood. He's never known for sure that this wasn't going to be a problem down the road.
Right.
So he developed this formula, but he can't test it because what do you test it on? There's no
other Spider-Man.
There's no guinea pigs that you can bite with a radioactive spider and then... Yeah, there's no way to test the system.
Guinea Spider-Man. Guinea pig Spider-Man?
Yeah, so he just drinks it.
Okay.
And in that moment he goes, well, this could kill me, but Gwen, if there's any... I did it for you. And then he blacks out. And the rest of the issue is a dream sequence. And it's him swinging around the city, and he hears a voice calling for him. And he swings, and he keeps getting attacked by villains. The first one to attack is the Vulture. And Vulture is incensed when Spider-Man attacks him. He's angry, and he says, you don't do this. You only hurt the people you love. Which is like, right away sets the tone of where this story's going to go.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man says, well... No, I can't believe you know. He's worried that people are figuring out that not that he's Peter Parker, but that someone found out that he's the one who hurts his loved ones. Because it's basically what he does.
Yeah.
But he goes after the voice, and next up is Dr. Octopus. Because at this point, Spider-Man's just like, how is this possible? There's never been like one after another villain.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know if that's true. But let's assume it is.
Did the Sinister Six come around by then?
The Sinister Six has definitely been around by then, but they wouldn't attack him one at a time, apparently randomly.
Right.
It would just be, now there's 6 of us.
It's just that day, National Crime Day.
Exactly.
It's the 420 for supervillains.
And Doc Ock says, anything can happen to someone like you. Your whole life is a fraud and a lie. You thought of yourself as a do-gooder, but all you wanted was fame and glory and thrills. You risked your life these years for nothing. And, like, again, Spider-Man is trying to convince himself that this isn't true and failing. Because, again, it's himself. Yeah. It's his own psyche. And he's trying to, like, convince Doc Ock / himself, like, why can't anyone understand? I got these abilities by accident, but once I had them, all I could do was fight. But for what? And again, just tearing himself apart. He knows the voice. At this point, he knows the voice is familiar. And he's also noticing there's a pain in his side, which he doesn't know why. He's like, I haven't even been hit there, but my side really hurts. It's getting worse. He finishes swinging. He swings to like the edge of the building. I think he's over the harbor. And there's this really cool sequence where this glowing face, it's basically the sun, appears, and it's George Stacy. It's very Mufasa-esque. It's just like, glowing.
Father!
Not my father. It's not even Uncle Ben, which is the weird thing. But it is a very recent father figure. He and George were close.
Clearly he left a mark on him. I mean, obviously.
Absolutely. Very powerful. And, Stacy says, like, I know your secret. I know who you really are, and I know what you are. The tragedy is that you don't really know. And Spider-Man says, how you're dead. How can I hear you? And Stacy says, even a voice that's been stilled can be heard if you listen. So we're meant to imply, like, this is actually happening. This is actually the spirit of George Stacy coming divine intervention. And he says, look, you've been given great power. You've tried to use it for good. No man can do more. And there have been others who tried, but they all were also jeered and misunderstood and hated, and they were destroyed. You torture yourself trying to live a normal life. You can't. You have to accept that you can't. It's your blessing and your curse forever. And Spider-Man says, yes, you're right. And he wakes up, and he takes off his sweatshirt, because his sides still hurt.
Right.
For some reason, his sides still hurt
don't know
when he's
why.
awake. He pulls off his sweatshirt, and underneath he has 4 extra arms.
What?
He has 4 extra arms sticking out the side of his Spider-Man costume, and then the caption, and he shouts, "Not like this! Not like this!"
Mufasa, you betrayed me!
And the caption at the end is, "There'll be no cop-out, we promise you. Spidey is really awake. He has 6 arms." Well, he continued next issue.
I love that the comic ends with, guess what? This is real.
Because there were a lot of imaginary stories in the 50s.
Where they're just like, we're just kidding.
Well, there was a lot of like, the death of Superman, or Jimmy Olsen kills Superman. There's a lot of Jimmy Olsen imaginary stories and a lot of Superman imaginary stories, but all through DC and even, to a degree, Marvel before the real Renaissance. But the fact that it is the classic, not a dream, not a hoax, not an imaginary tale, that's a classic for a reason, and this is
like this
right up there on that list.
He's got 4 arms. Let's go.
The next issue, we meet a vampire named Morbius.
Right.
Now, you know who Morbius is.
Morbius, the living vampire?
Yeah, again, they get around the vampire rule by saying he's a science vampire. Basically, he's a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who has the blood disorder.
Right.
His blood vessels, I think, are dissolving. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to experiment on himself, but he makes himself a vampire accidentally. And in the show, in the 90s cartoon, he would suck the plasma out of people. They couldn't say blood. Right. He'd suck the plasma out of people with his palms. And
Not
here,
my plasma.
He's definitely biting people. He's definitely murdering people.
Oh, wow.
He wakes up on a boat. Or, like, we meet him on a boat, and he's conflicted. During the day, he's a man with all the guilt of what he does. At night, he's a soulless killing machine, and he kills everyone on this ship that he's stowed away on.
Like murder.
He just murders all of them.
Not knocked unconscious, maybe sleeping,
but
murder.
No, murders them.
Oh, wow.
He goes to the shore, and that's where he finds Spider-Man. Spider-Man is hiding out in Dr. Connor's house at this point. Dr. Connors is the lizard. And he calls Dr. Connors. He's like, "I remember you at a house out in I think it's Staten Island. I'm not sure. It's out in the country, though.
Right.
Out on the shore. Somewhere isolated with a laboratory where no one will find me and I can fix this, right? You have that.
Let's do this."
And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." But of course, that's where Morbius shows up. Connors goes to help. But he gets there right as Morbius is attacking. And issue 101 ends with Connors hulking out into the lizard. And it ends with them about to fight, and basically Spider-Man's in the middle of them, and they're like, "Oh, we're both going to kill him. But we have to kill each other to kill him." It's a little silly.
Okay.
They fight in...
Who can be the alpha to eat the spider?
Yeah, who gets to eat Spider-Man? Because obviously the lizard has fought him a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to kill Spider-Man.
He wants to kill him.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But Morbius has decided he's going to kill him.
Right.
They fight in issue 102, and the lizard is defeated by Morbius. Morbius is about to take a bite. He gets his teeth in. It doesn't draw blood. He gets his teeth in. Spider-Man beats him away. And Lizard turns into a half Connors, half lizard.
What
and
does that look like?
It looks a lot like Killer Croc, but on a frail Bruce Banner-like guy. And he's got the mind of Connors at this point.
But he's got kind of a weird...
He's got this weird reptilian... Body. And it goes back to Lizard body right away, but he's still got the mind of Connors.
Weird.
And they realize it's because of the bite. So he's got something in his blood or in his jaws or something that, weakens you. And it was enough to kind of take away the...
To bring that... literally, the lizard... Get rid of the lizard brain. Exactly. And bring back the conscious brain.
And they think that might be the way to cure Spider-Man as well as cure Dr. Ock. But they're working on this antidote.
So now we know why Morbius is in the story.
Yeah, exactly. And they're working on an antidote, but as they're working, Lizard is starting to get a little more antsy. It's like, don't talk back to me. Anyway, we need to finish this. And Spider-Man's like, I really got to hurry this along.
He's starting to get a little bit more Jekyll and Hyde.
This is a problem. He does say, I'm losing him to the lizard. This is an issue.
Oh, wow.
And they go...
So they've created the ticking time...
Exactly.
Time clock.
And they go and they find Morbius. I feel like a few days pass at this point, because people are hearing about, bums who are going missing and things. And it's definitely a little bit of time is passing. People are looking for Peter. Obviously, he can't be bothered to attend. Gwen feels like she's done something wrong. I mean, it's still 1971, so...
Honey, sometimes you gain, you grow 2 extra arms. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, he has to, blow her off and be like, I'm sick, I'm skipping town. I'll totally be back.
It's all right.
This is the life of Peter Parker.
Yep. The man with infinite excuses.
And then they go and they find him, and they find Morbius, and they fight, and they manage to draw what they need from his blood to cure Lizard. And before Spider-Man can take his, Morbius attacks him and takes the serum. He says, "Screw you, I want this cure." Obviously I do.
Right.
And I've skipped over the fact that Morbius tries to kill himself a bunch of times. It's because he's feeling guilty. During the day, he's got that guilt. Mm-hmm. And he would like throw himself off the boats trying to kill himself, but obviously the vampire instinct takes over.
Almost like Hulk.
Very much so.
Like him saving himself.
Like that line exactly in Avengers where he says, I put a bullet in my mouth, the other guy spit it out. Now, Morbius isn't committing to that extreme a measure.
He's throwing himself off boats.
That kind of thing. Or
Are they high boats?
Well, I mean, yeah, he's intending to drown. He wants to drown himself, but he is a vampire. He has the strength to not drown.
Right.
And that instinct kicks in. Mm-hmm. But he wants to cure himself.
I gotta say, pretty weak suicide attempt to try to drown oneself.
I mean, to be fair, like if you're out in the middle of the ocean, most people who are out in the middle of the ocean with no life support or no life raft.
Oh, he's in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, the boat is not docked.
Oh, I thought it was docked, and he was just like, just drop in right
it's
here.
still out in the ocean. He swims to shore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was not clear. But he's got this cure.
Okay.
Spider-Man and he are fighting over it. And Spider-Man's like riding off of Morbius. He's got like a line hooked onto Morbius. Morbius is flying and Spider-Man's swinging along him.
Okay.
And then Morbius...
Kind of like if a helicopter was flying through the air and there was a cable hooked to it and you're just dangling from it. Okay.
Right. And he's also pulling and changing the course. Morbius flies into a bridge and drops into the harbor.
Just like a bird hitting a glass window, like...
Very unceremonious. And he's drowning, and Spider-Man webs him to safety, but only manages to grab the serum. Bit convenient.
Yeah, good for him.
And Morbius drowns. We see him go under the water. We know from years later that he has come back.
But at this point, we think he's dead.
We think he's dead. I feel like that's Spider-Man's fault, but Connors is like, well,
sometimes
he did want to kill himself. It's like, yeah, but he stopped himself every time. Like,
that's not really, yeah.
You definitely are excusing the fact that Spider-Man murdered that guy.
Yeah. Spider-Man's like, well, he was kind of depressed, so I think I'm going to chalk this up to heroing.
Spider-Man is saying, like, I didn't care. Like, he's torn up about the fact that he didn't stop it. He didn't feel anything.
Is this because of the arms, or because Spider-Man's feeling a bit like a jerk in these issues?
It's a weird turn. He's like, I don't care about Eastern Europeans.
The side effects of growing 2 additional arms is you kind of become a little bit of a dick.
I mean, maybe that's the implication, but he's definitely like torn up about the fact that he didn't do enough to save him, and that he could have done more to save him. And Connors is like, well, he was trying to kill himself. Here's the thing about trying to kill yourself. If you don't do it, it's because you don't actually want to kill yourself.
Yeah, that's typically what happens.
All the time. It means that you need help and treatment. Like, if you are thinking about killing yourself, you go to a suicide hotline if you're not a vampire.
Yeah.
Like, you go to help, you consult someone, and you work through the problems. It doesn't mean that someone kills you, and that's okay.
Yeah. What's wrong, sir? Well, I'm a vampire. Oh, well, you're going to have to probably call somebody else.
I'm sorry, I can't help you.
I'm sorry, I really have walked through almost every scenario, but I've never heard that one before. So, thanks, and good luck.
He doesn't really learn anything in this issue, Spider-Man. Not in 102.
I have a question. He has 4 arms, right?
He's got 6, yeah.
Oh, he has 6 arms?
Yeah, no, he's got 4 extra arms. He's a
4 extra arms, that's right.
Man at this point.
So, with his 6 extra arms, do they also have, did he make a Spider-Man costume for his other arms?
No,
or are they poking out the sides?
They're poking out the sides.
Okay.
They also...
Did he put web things on them?
No, he didn't. He didn't put any extras on them. That would be committing to them on a level he did not want to do.
He didn't want to commit to those extra arms. He was like, I'm totally down to just chop these off.
But one more thing, the art, chop them off.
I mean, really,
let's not go that far.
I mean, out of all the super science in the Marvel universe, I mean, amputating limbs isn't that far off.
Still, if you can get them off entirely,
if you can get them off through magic serum, then
which they do. Obviously, he's cured.
Look. You're right, Mike. If you have the option to do a regular standard amputee surgery of your arms, or go the regular normal route of hunting down a living vampire, killing him on a bridge, and taking magic serum, that's definitely the better way to go.
I mean, it's a toss-up, really.
Really, it's a toss-up.
One last note, the art is really well done in this issue, but throughout all 3 issues, the art on Spider-Man's arms is really cool because they're all doing their own separate thing. They're all very much still expressing his emotions, but
they're not directly under his control.
They are, but I mean, when you're shrugging, it's not like they're all doing the same thing. They're all kind of expressing the same emotion in various forms. I
like that.
There is a missed opportunity when he buries his head in his hand, and he doesn't bury his head in 6 hands. I really wish they'd done that. I really wish he just buried his head in all 6 of his...
All the hands.
Just use them all to cover his face when he messes up with Gwen.
That would have been the example of super grief. Super grief.
Exactly.
When it's just 6 hands, not 2.
Which, let's be fair, is Spider-Man's truest superpower.
Is super grief.
And that's the... I didn't give this title at the beginning because I didn't want to spoil it for you. It's the 6-Arm Saga.
It's the 6-Arm Saga.
That's what they call it.
And that one time he splatted a vampire to heal himself with magic.
I can't imagine that's the only time that's happened.
That's probably not the only time. It's Spider-Man. All right, man. Well, that was an awesome story. I love how that opened with dream sequence about, emotional weight of my life, waking up to I've got 6 arms.
Yeah, it happens fast.
All right, man. Well, that ends our main event, and that brings us on to our game segment that we have on each episode. Last time we did Super Mundane. For this week, we're going to do our game segment, Who Am I? Who am I? All right, so here we are for our game segment, Who Am I? So, since this is our first time playing this, Who Am I? It's a very simple setup. It's basically like 20 questions. Mm-hmm. So, Mike, you're going to basically just ask me general questions. They have to be basically either yes or no or fairly specific questions. You can't just be like, what is your origin story or something like that.
Because you're thinking of a hero or a villain.
Hero or villain. And for the purposes of this game, so we can keep it fairly concise, we're going to keep to the 2 houses of Marvel and DC.
I was going to.
So I'm not going to branch out to some random
image or
Boom or IMDb or something like that. Yeah. But yes, so we'll keep it to the 2 houses, Marvel and DC. Let's begin. This is Who Am I?
All right. Oh, well, first question, and I mean this is always going to be the first question.
Okay.
Marvel or DC?
It is DC.
Okay. Second question: do you have any living parents?
Yes. I would say probably yes.
Okay. That's interesting. All right. Next question I'm going to ask, do you have any powers? And I'm going to say, for the purposes of like DC, I wouldn't say that Green Lantern, for example, has powers because he gets his from an external source versus Hawkgirl. Well, that depends on your version of Hawkgirl. It depends on your version of Hawkgirl. Right. Sometimes it's a harness. But do you have powers?
No, I don't have powers.
Interesting. Are you now, or have you ever been, a core member of the Justice League cartoon lineup?
Now, can you answer me this question? What do you mean by core member?
Core lineup is Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Martian Manhunter.
So is I any one of those characters?
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Okay. I forgot to ask this one. Are you a villain?
No.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know if this is going to help at all, but are you on an episode of Brave and the Bold that you've seen so far?
Ooh, that is a good question. I'm going to say yes.
You are? Okay.
Yes.
Are you a woman?
No.
Okay. Do you use technology or magic?
Technology.
Okay. You're not Green Lantern.
I'm not.
You're not any of the Green Lanterns.
Not any of the Green Lanterns.
Are you a legacy hero?
There's
been more than one of you. Either there will be there's more than one of whatever.
Yes.
Are you the Atom?
I'm not the Atom.
Damn, that would have been so cool if I just nailed it like that.
Just immediately out.
Oh, yes. Because I'm going to start just naming people as like Our Man. Are you Our Man?
No. Gotta ask me questions, man. Can't just start naming names.
You're in the core DC universe, right? You're not like Watchmen.
In the core DC universe.
Okay. Are you a modern character?
Like, am I in the New 52?
Yeah.
No. Technically, no.
Are you from the future?
No.
I was hoping you were Terry McGinnis. That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
Are you one of the Justice Society members? Some of the old school heroes?
Definitely an old school hero.
Okay. Huh.
Thinking.
I am. I'm going to ask for a lifeline. You mentioned that there's a...
Yes.
You mentioned this, but off air. There's a lifeline process.
Sure. So I'll explain. Some of the lifelines are a couple things. You can either ask to a reference, or I can give you a significant event in my life. So you can either ask for something that I have said or a significant event in my life. So which one would you like?
I'll take significant event.
Okay.
For 200.
A very significant event in my life. And this is a very big deal, I was shot and killed.
Are you Blue Beetle?
Am I just generally Blue Beetle?
Are you Ted Kord Blue Beetle?
I am Ted Cord Blue Beetle.
I was thinking about that, actually. Okay.
That is correct, Mike. You have won. Who am I?
Ted Cord Blue Beetle.
Ted Cord Blue Beetle. He is the answer.
He's always the answer.
He's always the answer to all the riddles. He was part of Justice League.
It's true. No.
He just was not a core member.
It's true. He wasn't on the show, I don't think.
If you had asked for a reference, I was going to say, let's cheese it.
Yeah, that would have been a tough one. But I would have gone Booster Gold, but he's from the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well played, sir. Well played.
Thank you. All right. Well, hopefully your guesses were as good as Mike's. So Ted Cord Blue Beetle is the answer. I have to imagine
they're at least better. I know that for a fact that some people were screaming at the...
It's Ted Cord,
Why are you guessing Ted Cord?
Especially that part when you were like, do you use any kind of bugs or beetles? And I was like, well, definitely. Probably like a blue one.
Are you color themed blue?
Color themed, definitely.
It's weird.
You got pretty close with the legacy, though.
I know. That was interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's true. And he technically isn't currently... I think Forever Evil #7 apparently is bringing back Ted Cord. I don't know if he's the Blue Beetle because there's a different one right now.
Oh, right. That's
but technically in New 52, he is not around.
Okay.
And I think even in current canon, he's still dead. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Poor Ted. All right. Well, that was episode 2 of Because Comics. We'll be posting a new episode every other week. If you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions at becausecomics or becausecomics@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at because_comics. And be sure to check out more content from our comic boy wonder, Mike Christensen, at supergeekmike.com. Thanks for listening, and remember...
Bird is the word.
Bird is the word?
Bird is the word.
Bird. Bird is the word.
Well, bird.
Bird
is the word. Well, bird. This is not going to mess
This is just going to keep going. Just keep going and go bird. Because comics.